Lead Pedal Podcast with your host Bruce Outridge. He talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey everybody, how we doing today? Welcome to another edition of the Lead Pedal Podcast. This is episode number 998, and today's Lead Pedal Q&A. And our listener asked a question: how do truck drivers know where to go? Well, that's a loaded question if I've ever heard one. Anyway, I'll tell you right after this. Stay tuned. Hey folks, you know that Bison raised their rates at the beginning of the year for owner-operators and for company drivers. And I gotta tell you, it has been so successful that they wanted to let you know exactly how much their drivers are making. That's right, they have significantly increased the base rates for their teams. So owner-operator teams can earn up to $360,000 per year. That's right, you heard me say that right, $360,000 per year. Company team drivers can earn up to $120,000 per year per driver. That's right, per driver. That's some big numbers, right? They have a wide variety of Canada-only dedicated team positions available for folks to choose from, and Bison has a steady freight to keep the teams moving. So if you want to significantly increase your base rates, then you want to make sure that you sign up for that. Now, Bison has also increased the base rates for owner-operators. Owner-operators running Canada only can earn up to $185,000 per year. They have a wide variety of Canada-only positions for owner-operators to choose from, and Bison has a steady freight to keep the owner-operators moving. So where can you learn more about all of these things? I mean, you know, $360,000 for owner-operator teams, $120,000 for company driver teams, and owner-operators running by themselves can earn $185,000 per year. Canada only, folks, that is incredible. Well, the best place to go is to go to bisondriving.com. And while you're there, while you're talking to the team, would you let them know that you heard about it from the Lead Pedal Podcast? Hey, good luck there. You're going to make some great money working for one of the safest fleets in North America. All right, so here we go. How do truck drivers know where to go? That is the listener question we've got today. And this one came through our social profiles, and I gotta say, there's some interesting answers there. One person said, good drivers don't just wiggle the steering wheel and push the pedals. They know the dimensions of the vehicle, height, length, weight, all of that kind of stuff. That's true. That's what they should be doing. One driver said use Google Maps. But I would not. I'm going to caution you on doing that because it does not show restrictions, truck routes, anything like that. Some people said use a good driving GPS, good truck GPS with route data. That has a lot of stuff on it. Rand McNally would be one of those. Anyway, one person says if you're into gaming, use a simulator and it'll show you all the challenges that come up with a truck driver. Not sure I would go that. But how do truck drivers know where to go? Well, it's maybe a mix of things. First of all, trip planning is what we call it, and trip planning is when you actually map out your route, know where you're going to stop, do all of the proper things that you should be doing. A lot of drivers don't trip plan these days. That's why they get into problems. So if you are let's say an older driver like me and you're into maps tell you, if you have the commercial driver's map book, which is not the basic one that you get, but one you get for $25 to $75 depending on what you buy, because they come in laminated and all that, but it's the commercial driver. So it has all information in there as far as bridges and roads you're allowed, and information on who to call should you have a problem, and permits and all of that. If you're using a map, that's what I would use. And I would still encourage you to use a map. Learn to read a map, because if your GPS device ever goes down, you do not want to be stuck. You want to know how to read a map. I can actually get out faster with a map than I can with a GPS. So I'll tell you something there. If you are using a GPS, don't use just a GPS from like Google or your Apple phone or something like that. Not that they're bad. They are fine for cars a lot of the time, but they will not give you the truck information. And so they will not tell you whether there's a low bridge or whether there's a road that's restricted to a trucks or what have you. So those are probably the two. If you're using regular maps and GPSs, make sure you use a good truck GPS, probably run in the range of about $500. Nowadays, I think a lot of routing is done through, sometimes your company will tell you exactly which way to route. They will do it for you as far as their routing software and just give you the directions and say, here's how you go. Some will let you choose. I've always worked for companies that kind of let me choose the route, and I like that. But you do have to do some homework and know where you're going. Probably the other way of doing it, which is probably the better way of doing it, and I don't know how many people are still doing that, but getting directions from other drivers. So knowing, if you've got fellow drivers that have been in there, or you've been a driver that's been in there, and someone gives you directions, keep it. Keep it in a notebook, keep it in your phone, wherever it is you keep your notes, and have like a little direction database. You will find, even if you change companies, that you will probably go to even if you're with a different company, you may end up at the same spot again. That's happened many times to me. So don't be afraid to keep directions. Another way is to call the company. Be very careful who you're talking to at the company. Make sure that you are talking to somebody who's familiar with the truck entrance, because a lot of times, large companies may have multiple locations within a block, and you want to be at the truck entrance and not in front of the office, which may be a restricted route. So make sure you check those out. Don't just go on a whim. There's no reason to go on a whim. If you're driving on a whim these days and you don't really know where you're going or what you're doing, then you're wasting a lot of technology and information that's right in front of you. So make sure you get into that. All right, so that's where truck drivers go. That's how they find out where they're going. They do some what we call trip planning, and I don't know how many drivers are doing that in today's world, but in the old days, that was the only way you could figure out where to get someone. And of course, knowing the interstate and highway system and all of that is something that every driver should know. Again, I agree with this person that said good drivers don't just wiggle the steering wheel and push the pedals. Professional drivers know the dimensions of their vehicle, height, weight, and all of that, and they know their trucks and where they need to go, and that is absolutely important. Just like this message from Driver Check.
Hey folks, have you heard about Driver Check and the services they offer? They have amazing services specifically for the transportation industry, along with many other industries. They have alcohol and drug testing, occupational health services, hearing protection, fit testing, and a whole lot more. They are a leader in how to handle cannabis in the workplace, and also how to handle COVID in the workplace. And you do not want to miss their great event that they have each year, the annual Fitness for Duty Summit. So where can you learn more? Where can you get information in order to keep your workplace safe? Well, go to drivercheck.ca. And when you go there, if you meet the team, please let them know that the Lead Pedal Podcast sent you. Thanks very much, and we'll see you later.
All right, there you go. So head over to drivercheck.ca for that. And so look into some of the trip planning. Look into maps. Look into Rand McNally's probably a leader in maps and in the GPS. But check with your company before you go buy anything, because they may have something already installed in your truck. All right, my friends, we'll talk to you later. Thanks for listening. And remember, Lead Pedal Q&A questions are general in nature. Please check with a professional before attempting any big change, life change, lawyers, accountants, whatever it may be. We just give this information as a general nature for our listeners. All right, hey, make sure you follow us on social, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And we will, remember, we've moved our radio to mixcloud.com/leadpedalradios, where you can find us. All right, my friends, we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.